the problem-solving teacher and Teachers Pay Teachers author. If you like my videos, please remember to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment below. When you do any of those things, it helps other teachers like you find my videos. Alright, today we are going to be talking about what you need to start a blog. So when I first started to dive into the TPT world and create resources and try to figure out how to put it all together, one of the things that I heard over and over again was that you needed to start a blog because it helped people find you, get to know you, like and trust you. It helped you build a relationship with people who could become your audience and long-term customers, and it gave you a space of your own online where you could sell your own resources, have a course, and just talk to other teachers. So after hearing it from a ton of people, I decided that I was going to go ahead and jump in and do it. I talked to my husband. He agreed to be willing to kind of manage the website for me a little bit and build it up. And so after just a couple of months on Teachers Pay Teachers, I dove in and started a blog. Now, I will say that you can start your blog on a free website such as Blogger or Weebly, but there are not as many formatting options, so it might not look exactly the way you want or envision in your mind, and there's not as much SEO support, so there's not as much search engine optimization to help people find you using keyword research. So there's no support systems in place in there, or very little. It's not the best option in that way. So we are going to talk a little bit about some of the options beyond that, some of the things and the tools that I use to blog regularly. Since I started blogging last year, I kind of started to play with the idea of it December of 2020, and then in January 2021 I started to put out a blog pretty much every week. Sometimes my husband posted it late, but pretty much every week since then. So I now have over a year's worth of blogs. Alright, so one of the first things that you're going to need is you're going to need a domain name. You might have heard me mention that you probably want to check that before you pick a TPT store name in other videos. You want to make sure that you have a domain name that belongs to you. It could be your name, it could be the name of your TPT store, but you want to make sure that that's available. You can go to services such as GoDaddy.com to check to see what domain names are available. The other thing you're going to need is a website hosting service. The hosting service I use is Bluehost. My husband researched a couple of different options, and the one that he thought would be best for us long term, so that we wouldn't have to go through redoing a website at some point, was Bluehost. So that's what we went with, and since he was managing, he still manages my website and actually goes through and puts everything up. That is, I said, you pick what you think is going to be easiest to use, and that's what he chose. He also has a background in IT. That's his job, that's his day job, he is in IT. So I thought he probably had a better mind for reading the specs and the different parts of each service and picking a good one than me, who does not. Also, within the hosting service, if you're paying for a hosting service, you want to make sure it includes an email. At some point, you're probably going to want to start building an email list from your website, so you want an email that goes with your website. So you want to make sure that your website, your hosting service, includes an email, and Bluehost did. I think it was like $10 more, so it's totally worth it. So those are some of the key tools that you're going to need just to start to build a website. The other thing you're going to need is software to run on that website. The WordPress.org is by far the best software out there. People choose it above and beyond everything else that is available. So WordPress.org. Do not do WordPress.com, WordPress.org. It gives you lots of options to easily format your website. So you definitely want that. Within your website, within WordPress, you're probably going to end up getting a couple of different apps, but the one that you absolutely must get is Yoast. It's like toast, but with a Y. Yoast. Yoast gives you SEO support. As you put up a blog, you can check Yoast and it will say, hey, your SEO on this, your search engine optimization is really good, or it's not so great. You want to try to have good search engine optimization. It will help people find you online. And Yoast is within WordPress. It's free in WordPress. There are paid versions, but it's free in WordPress, and it can really help you have a better, stronger website. All right, some other things that you're going to want to know about as you start to put things up on your website. You are going to want to create a Google Analytics account. It's just going to let you know how many people are visiting your site and how your site is doing on the Google rankings of things. You are going to want, let's talk about setting up your website a little bit. Setting up your website, my husband did mine for me. You might have someone who's able to do yours for you. There are people you can hire to do it, but they cost a significant amount of money. There is a woman named Shannon Matterson, and she does a 5-day challenge to help you build your website, and she does it for free. And then if you don't want to do the work, you can hire her to do it. But she is one of the best people out there to support you in building your website. It's just like, it's a 5-day challenge. I mean, you can get it up in 5 days. Of course, you can take longer if you want to, depending on the time you have. But she will walk you through the steps of setting up that website far better than I could. The other things that you're going to want to look at and make sure that you have access to. You're going to want to have topics and ideas for blogging. I'm going to do a whole nother video on that in the coming weeks, so keep an eye out for that. If you're like, I have no idea what to talk about, you're going to want to have topics and ideas for blogging. The best place to write your blogs is in Google Docs, because you can do a lot of formatting in Google Docs. It automatically saves, and you can access it from any computer as long as you have your sign-in. So Google Docs is the perfect place to do the actual writing and then copy and paste it in. You're also going to need graphics. I use Canva for all my graphics. You can create graphics in PowerPoint, but it's far easier in Canva. I highly recommend it. They have lots of good free options and designs that you can work with from the get-go. The next thing you're going to want to make sure that you have is search engine optimization. So you definitely want to use keywords when you're doing your website. Whenever you are putting up a blog post, you want to try to use words that other people are searching. So go to Ubersuggest, and when you are thinking about what topic you want to write about, put that topic in Ubersuggest and see if people are searching it, because you don't want to use words that nobody is searching. And my final piece of advice is to come up with a realistic schedule. I've talked a lot about having a schedule in other videos of mine. You need to have a schedule to make sure that you're getting stuff done, but you want it to be realistic for you. That could mean that you're still in the classroom full-time, you have a lot going on, you have kids at home, you are going to commit to one blog a month. Maybe you are like me and you're like, I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna do it once a week, and you're gonna put out a blog every week. Whatever schedule you choose, just make sure it's realistic, make sure that it's something that you feel like you can commit to, and then do it. So starting a blog or a website, unless you're going to go with a free version to start with, it does have a financial commitment. Your hosting service and domain name can usually be bought together for your first year to make it a little bit cheaper. If you don't like the host and you end your contract early on the hosting service, you can lose your domain name if you do that. So that's the only downside, which is why you want to make sure you have a host that you like. But your host and your domain name can be bought together. My first year it was just a little bit over $100 to buy those two things together, and I thought that it was a worthwhile investment. And you have to remember that's for a year, so that's like $10, $12 a month, something like that. So when you break it down like that, you're like, that's more doable. So those are some of the basics of getting your website up and going, of some of the things you need to start a blog. Hopefully this was helpful for you. Don't forget to check out the show notes if you want to see some of these things written out. Leave a comment below, let me know what your website is, and have an awesome day.